Hello, I am Juan Pablo Rodriguez, Navy Recruiting District San Antonio Education Specialist. I will give you a brief summary of our Educator's Orientation Visit to San Diego, California, wherein we took 10 educators and professionals from the South Texas area to visit naval installations with us. These 10 educators and professionals were nominated by naval recruiters of the South Texas area to accompany us to our trip to San Diego. We landed in San Diego, California, and headed over to the Naval Base San Diego Navy Exchange, where we had lunch at the food court with the educators. We gave a brief about what things we would see during the week, and we had an opportunity to shop at the Navy Exchange for a while. We headed from there to the Navy Amphibious Base Coronado, where our lodging took place. We checked in, rested for a while, and then we left from there to go to Old Town San Diego, where we enjoyed dinner with our educators and had an icebreaker. On day 2, we arose early and visited the Navy dining facilities for breakfast, where we had an opportunity to check out the quality of food that is being served to the sailors and enjoy breakfast there. After breakfast, we headed to the Pacific Beacon Housing Unit, where we had a tour of the facilities where sailors reside while stationed in San Diego, California. State-of-the-art facilities that were shown to our educators that seemed very impressive. After our housing tour, we headed to the Fleet and Family Support Center, where Maggie Silva, the Education Services Specialist for U.S. MEPCOM, gave a brief on the Career Exploration Program. Once Maggie finished, Tony, one of the Career Center individuals, gave a brief on all of the resources that the Navy has to provide to new adjusting families to Navy life and for sailors that are returning from deployment. After lunch, we visited the Assault Craft Unit 1, where we were given a tour of the San Diego Bay on board a vessel of the Assault Craft Unit 1 team. After our cruise on the San Diego Bay, we headed to the USS Pasadena, a Navy submarine, where our educators were given a tour of a fast attack submarine and living conditions within the submarine while they're on deployment. Later in the evening, we had an opportunity to go to the Hornblower Admiral, where we took a dinner cruise with our educators and enjoyed a good time there. Early on day 3, we attended basic underwater demolition SEAL training base, where we were received a brief as to the capabilities of the Navy SEALs, what it takes to become one, the training that they undergo. We were given a tour of the obstacle course while there, and we were shown a display of weapons the Navy SEALs use, where our educators had an opportunity to take pictures with the weapons that were obviously clear before they took pictures. After lunch, we visited the guided missile destroyer USS Paul Hamilton, where we were received by a female commanding officer, the captain of the ship. It was super impressive to our educators that we have a U.S. Navy captain on board that ship who commands the ship. She introduced several of her department heads, which were also females, and it was a very impressive tour of that ship. Later that evening, we enjoyed dinner at the Fish Market restaurant on the harbor, and we took a stroll at Seaport Village. The morning of day 4, we visited Naval Medical Center San Diego, where the public affairs officer of the hospital gave us a brief as to the capabilities of the hospital. After the brief, we visited the Navy Simulation Center, where the technician gave us a tour and displayed the capabilities of the different surgeries that could be practiced in this center. From there, we went to the Biomedical Skills Center, where they showed us the highest technology the Navy has to perform surgery. So then we visited the Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron HSM-35, where we received the brief of the capabilities of the helicopter while on deployment and the anti-submarine missions that they perform. We also went and had an opportunity to see the helicopters themselves, where our educators took pictures with some of the pilots, our briefer, and the helicopter itself. Then we headed to Imperial Beach, where we visited the Coastal Riverine Group 1. They gave us a brief of their primary vessel that they used during deployment and some of the medical capabilities they have while in the field. During our last night in the EOV, we headed to Navy Beach property, Naval Air Station North Island, where we had a barbecue on the beach and a fire where every educator had an opportunity to give us the highlights of their trip. So we want to thank all the educators and professionals that were involved during this year EOV. And we hope that they learn a lot about the Navy, which is our purpose, so that when they're approached by young people in the community, they could give a well-informed advice as to the Navy.